The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Techgig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Test Management for Regulatory Environments. Our guest speaker today is Vaibhav Srivastav, Development Lead, IBM Rational Software from IBM India Software Labs. Vaibhav Srivastav is the Development Team Lead for Rational Quality Manager and works from the India Software Lab in Bangalore, India. He has keen interest in manual and AMP automated test capabilities and has been driving the work around improved support for regulatory environments to provide more adherence to process and compliance. He is also actively involved in the public APIS support for automated test for RQM using which customers or partners can build test tool integrations with RQM. Along with others, Vaibhav also lead the manual test script recorder integration between Rational Functional Tester and Rational Quality Manager. He has presented at various national and international conferences on topics of testing, is a contributing author as Developer Works and also a contributor to OSLC Automation Work Group. So, without further delay, I now introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Vaibhav.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Vaibhav. The audience is now able to hear you. Please start the session.
Okay, good. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Vaibhav Srivastav. As Ratna mentioned, I work from the India Labs, IBM India Labs. Today what we are going to talk about is around test management in regulatory environments. And I have a good list of things which I want to cover today. But before I jump on that, what I'll do is I'll give you a brief picture on what we are going to see today. So we'll start off with a quick overview of the tool set because I want to pick one of the tools and then use that to show how that fits in the regulatory environments. We'll talk about a little bit about the terminology which we use here in the IBM tooling. But then really the meat of the material here is what's needed in the regulatory environments, and then how do we make the users get what they want out of the tooling available today in the market. And some of the very high level things which are required in regulatory environments is the cross-domain traceability, which means if I were to build something, why am I building that? How do I build that? And then what is the set of test cases which actually ensure that the functionality was built? More so, what was the test case which was built and ran for a functionality? But then was it actually needed? Did we actually need that test? Was it linked to a particular requirement because of which that test case was run? We'll see some of that today. Then there are different audit requirements which are present in this kind of environment. So things like if something was done, first of all, if it's not printed out on paper, it seems not useful because if an auditor tries to look at the tool, they would just say, give me something printed out on a paper. So can you take those history of modifications, the traceabilities across from a requirements to a test plan to a test case, all of that out on a paper. And then what does the user need to do to get that history? If he has to spend a lot of time in maintaining that audit trace, it's not useful, right? So the tools will help you build that sort of history automatically, the actions which are performed, when was that action performed, and then why was that action performed. All that needs to be captured across in the tools so that tomorrow when you have to present all that information to an auditor, you have all that information up front available. And how would all that come into picture? Because if the user goes ahead and does some modification which is not required, then reverting that effect would be more costly. So to avoid that sort of situation, we have sort of a process which lives in the tool. There's this process enactment which happens automatically, and then there's process enforcement. So if from an enforcement perspective, if you think of if I were to run a test case which is not approved, then that test case is really not useful. So the process will actually restrict you from running a test case if that's not approved. That's one of the examples. And then, as I said, there are reporting needs. What's not on paper did not ever happen. That's my theory on regulatory environment needs, right? So anything which is not reportable is not useful in this kind of domain. And Rational Quality Manager, the tool which I'll pick today to talk about all of this, is very well fit in the regular IT domains, the different regulatory environment domains, be it healthcare, in system domains also, if this is automotive or aerospace kind of domain. The tool will be able to cater to that. For the purpose of today's session, we'll just walk through for what's needed in the regulatory environment kind of scenarios. I'll spend the initial 5 minutes on what the tool is about, and then we'll go through the slides and we'll see a few demos also in action so that people can see how the tool works and what are the areas where they need to configure. So Quality Manager, Rational Quality Manager is at a very high level allows you capabilities of test planning, test case construction, manual testing is inbuilt. Then it allows you to execute manual tests and automated tests. And then you can run reports around whatever you've done. It has role-based reporting, live views, which will help you find out what are the requirements, traceabilities, and the execution status and all that. It has timeline support, which means you can manage multiple releases together. The process is inbuilt, so and it has a lot of customization flexibility. So based on what's required, the process can be tweaked so that users have to adhere to that process. From our today's session perspective, Esignatures are also present. It has enhanced audit support, so you should be able to utilize that. And the e-signature requirement is very typical of the regulated environments domain, so that you get out of the box. So now, at a very high level, the test management component, which is in the center on the screen, Rational Quality Manager gives you all that. But then on the left, it integrates with the requirement tools. What I've mentioned on this is only IBM solutions, but Rational Quality Manager can integrate with pretty much any tool which supports OSLC specifications for requirements. So there are external tools which have also integrations with Rational Quality Manager, where you can integrate your even your homegrown requirements management tool to this. And then on the right side, it's defect management solutions. Again, mentioned only the Rational ones, but there are external open source third-party tools which you can integrate with Rational Quality Manager. All that is because of the bottom layer, which you see mentioned as JAS here. All the integrations are built using open services, so you should be able to integrate any third-party tool. Just to give a name, Silent Jira is also integrated with Rational Quality Manager. So you should be able to manage tasks or defects with that, or the bugs with Bugzilla and that sort of thing. At the bottom, on the screen, what we show is the different point products or the testing tools. Functional testers, performance testers, more as the name suggests, one does the regression GUI-based functional testing. Performance tester is more towards load testing of the application, mimic the number of users and create that sort of load on the application. And then a lot of other tooling, very limited set mentioned over here. But something to mention here is the integration testing which we have for test virtualization. It virtualizes the sort of tests which won't need an actual live machine. It virtualizes the whole system, and then you can run the tests on them. If you had Selenium functional tests also, it's also a functional tester for us. So you can run those tests from Rational Quality Manager as well.